Welcome to WNL Sports Weekly. I'm Jeremy Franklin. This week we'll speak with volleyball coach Bryan Snyder, men's cross-country runner Cooper Baird, and women's soccer captain Rebecca Morris. But first, a quick look back at the weekend in Washington and Lee athletics. Field hockey improved to 3-0 in the ODAC with an 8-3 victory over Randolph-Macon. Football defeated Washington University 28-21. Women's soccer fell 3-0 to Lynchburg, while Roanoke dealt men's soccer a 1-0 defeat. And volleyball lost 3 matches against top-level competition, falling in straight sets to 23rd-ranked Johns Hopkins and number 12 Juniata, and also dropping a 3-1 decision to Stevenson. Joining me now is volleyball coach Bryan Snyder. Bryan, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Jeremy. Good to be here.
The Generals went 0-3 over the weekend, but those are 3 of the top teams you'll face all season long. How valuable was it to challenge your team right in the middle of the year?
Well, I think we'll learn that value over the upcoming weeks. I think it'll depend on how we play tonight, this weekend, next week, moving into the ODAC tournament. Obviously, like you said, that was some of the best competition we'll see, and we didn't start off any of those matches very strong, but we did improve throughout each match, and I felt by the third set of each of those matches we were competing right with each of those teams. So unfortunately, we weren't able to carry that to the next match, and that'll really be our goal moving forward, is to try to, wherever we've left off the previous match, start there the next match and continue to improve. So hopefully, the goal of scheduling a weekend like that is to raise our competitiveness and make it better in the practice gym every day and make us be able to play at a higher level when we face other teams. But we haven't really had much opportunity to see how that's all going to play out yet.
WNL's offensive depth this year, especially your pin hitters, prompted a system change. How has the team been able to take advantage of this particular strength on your roster? Well,
I think we're still getting used to that. We actually really, within the last week or so, have really been starting to move hitters around a little bit. I think, it gave us some diversity early where we were able to attack a lot on the left and a lot on the right, but we hadn't really been attacking the middle of the court as much. So we've been working with our back row attack a little bit more, trying to get more out of our middles, moving our left sides and right sides around a little bit. But I think the biggest thing for us is, every time the ball's on our side of the net now, we feel like we can get a high quality swing. Because we've always got 2 pin hitters, so even if we're out of system, we've got somebody on either pin that can take a good swing. So, we've been relatively balanced this year offensively. I think we're still a little bit heavy on the left side. But we've been moving in the right direction, and we're definitely a lot more difficult to defend from that perspective than we were in the last couple of years.
WNL faces Randolph-Macon at the Warner Center tonight. It's been a long time since anyone other than the Generals or the Yellow Jackets won an ODAC title, and both teams are 6-0 in the conference this year. How has that rivalry developed over the past few seasons?
Yeah, it's actually developed over a long time. Even back in the mid-2000s, that's who we were playing in the ODAC championship match, and since the ODAC tournament has changed format to top seed hosting, only Randolph-Macon or WNL have hosted. So, one of the 2 of us have won the regular season and or the tournament, like you said, pretty much every season that I've been here. So it's been developing for quite a while, and it's always a good battle. They're a really good team. They play very physically. They have a lot of offensive weapons. They play very hard. They always play well against us. We've had some really good battles the last couple of years. So, really looking forward to tonight's match. I think it'll be a really good atmosphere in the Warner Center. I know our team's looking forward to it, and I hope both teams play well, and if they do, it'll be a really competitive match, and I think either team could win.
We are 3 weeks away from the ODAC tournament. What needs to happen between now and then for the Generals to be peaking as you enter the postseason? Yeah,
for us, the big thing right now is offensive consistency. We've played really good defense all year, and this is the best blocking team we've had in quite a while. Our serve has been a little up and down, but I think recently we've been serving very well. So I think most of the facets of our game are about where they should be for early to mid-October, but offensively we've been all over the map. Some matches we look great, and other matches we're really struggling. So finding that offensive consistency, and again, I think going back to one of your previous questions, that's part of the downfall of running a 6-2 is you've got a setter out there for 3 rotations, and then you change to a different setter. So everybody's hitting off of different tempos and different locations every 3 rotations, and it just makes the connections a lot harder to get locked in. But that's really what we'll be working on over the next couple of weeks is our offense.
Bryan, thanks for joining us. Good luck with the rest of the regular season.
Thanks, Jeremy.
With me in the studio now is Rebecca Morris, senior soccer captain for Nashville, Tennessee. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jeremy.
You missed a good chunk of your junior season due to injury, but you've made it back this year. You were recently named ODAC Player of the Week. How exciting is it for you to be back on the field and contributing to the team?
Yeah, it feels really good. It's hard to be injured, as any player who's been injured knows. it's awesome to be part of a team, but it feels good, really good to be back on the field and to enjoy my teammates, enjoy one more season of playing on the field. So I'm really thankful to be back, worked hard to be back. Glad it's been a good season for us so far.
You're one of two captains on a roster where the underclassmen greatly outnumber the juniors and seniors. How important is leadership with such a young team?
We do have a really young team, a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores, as you know. It's really important. It's also really important that leadership comes from people in every class, not just from the captains, not just from the seniors, but from freshmen and sophomores. And part of helping them feel like leaders is on older leaders on the team, I think, like me and like Kelsey as captains, to try to develop them and to make them feel comfortable enough where they feel like they have a voice on and off the field. But experience is helpful and needed. We need to keep each other accountable. We need to push each other to get better every day, which is important, but it's hard. It's hard to come to practice with a fresh attitude and a willingness to work hard day in and day out. But I think that's a habit for us, and that's great.
The Generals ODAC schedule was pretty backloaded this season. You had a great overtime win against Roanoke on Tuesday night, but next week 2 more tough games, Shenandoah and Bridgewater. What are the keys to staying focused and getting results when you're going to face a tough challenge almost every time on the field in October?
Yeah, you're right. It's sort of crazy how our schedule worked out. The keys to that are, I think, taking practice day by day, taking each game one game at a time, not getting too ahead of ourselves, not getting too ahead of the fact that we have 4 or 5 big games in a row up ahead of us. Usually we approach teams with what we're good at. We don't adjust based on another team. We try to capitalize on our strengths. And I think that's a key to performing well. Another key is trusting our teammates, trusting our coach, that they're going to perform and do their job and put us in the right places and set us up to succeed. And we did that really well last night against Roanoke, so I hope that momentum will carry forward to next week with 2 big games.
Even with a young roster, you have several players who had key roles in last year's ODAC championship team. How can that experience benefit you once you get into this year's ODAC tournament?
Yeah, the tournament's big, and it's a little different than the regular season. Anything goes. The best team on that given day wins a game, and we're a really strong team this year. It's good to have experience in those games because older players know how the game goes. They know what it feels like to play in a game with pressure and with a lot of energy. And first years can adapt to that, but it's good to have people who have been there before for younger players to look up to and to watch and to perform like. So yeah, I'm glad we have some age on our team, but it's great to have a lot of younger players too. They add a lot. New perspective, new talents, new skills, change the way we play in good ways, and help us get better at things we've been good at. So I'm excited for the tournament. I think it's going to be good for us.
Rebecca, thanks for joining us. Best of luck with the rest of the year.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Here with me now is Cooper Baird, junior men's cross country runner from Fort Worth, Texas. Cooper, welcome to the show.
Hi, welcome. Thank you.
W&L graduated some key pieces from the 2016 roster. You were also one of the top scorers in the big meets last year. Have you felt any pressure to step into the shoes of someone like an Ian McDonald or a Max Strahler?
I mean, obviously there's going to be a little bit of pressure there. Those guys are, phenomenal runners, but I'm not really feeling it too much. Despite having an injury at the beginning of the summer, I had surgery, but I've, rehabbed pretty well. And then Coach Spalding's doing an excellent job of getting me back into shape. And I think I'll be in great shape when I need to be, towards the end of the season, ODACs, regionals, and then hopefully nationals.
W&L competed in 4 races in the month of September. The biggest was Lehigh at the end of the month. Give us a progress report on the first few weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, so the season started out kind of how it normally does, just with some more practice tempo efforts. Paul Short was our first actual big test. And honestly, we didn't do as well as we had hoped. It was a little disappointing, but I think we've learned a lot from it. We had some guys dealing with injuries, coming back from illnesses, and one of our guys, McKenzie, actually, hurt his ankle during the race. But like I said, we've learned a lot from that race, and I think we're going to be in great shape going forward because we're getting back from injuries and stuff.
The Generals travel to the St. Louis area for pre-nationals this weekend. How can that meet benefit the team, especially with the long-range goal of getting back there for the Division III championship in November? Yeah,
so last year when we went to nationals, we hadn't had anyone who had been in that nationals field before, and it was kind of a big shock for us getting in there with the huge crowd. And we got in a poor place at the start of the race. So this year I think it's going to be very helpful, especially for the younger guys who've never seen a nationals field before. It'll give them a chance to sort of see how things are going to play out at nationals.
The ODAC Championship is just over 2 weeks away, and of course, the path to nationals runs through the regional meet at Christopher Newport. What are the team's expectations for those two races?
Yeah, so ODAC's, we want to do the same thing we've done the past 2 years. We want to win. I think that's going to be the best thing for us going forward to regionals. It'll put us in a good spot. And at regionals, the goal is to get top 2, because then we get an automatic qualifying bid for nationals. But you know, at least we want to get 3rd, so that way we have a chance for that at-large bid. But like I said, ideally we'd get top 2.
Cooper, thanks for joining us. Best of luck the rest of the fall.
Thanks for having me.
It's time now for a look at the upcoming weekend. Men's and women's swimming will open up the year with the first regular season events in the new natatorium, starting with the dual meet against Center and Mary Washington on Friday and continuing with the ODAC relays on Saturday. Field hockey travels to Dickinson on Friday afternoon. On Saturday, women's cross country heads to Rowan, and men's cross country will travel to the St. Louis suburbs for the Cowbell Classic. Volleyball visits ODAC rival Virginia Wesleyan, where the Generals will also face Mary Washington. Men's soccer also treks to Virginia Wesleyan, while football gets back to conference play with a home matchup against Guilford. Also this weekend, riding competes at UVA, and women's golf returns to Florida for the Golf Week Division III Invitational. For WNL Sports Weekly, I'm Jeremy Franklin. Thanks for watching.